What's up everyone, it's DV. So I've got the finalists for the Roblox Islands Build Contest. They're here now. I've got them all for you. We've got, I think, around like 40 sci-fi, 40 fantasy, and like, I don't know how many. I think like maybe another 80 in the themes section. Yeah, themes got hit heavy because a lot of people just didn't know where to put their island entry into. They just figured, well, I don't know what it is, so I'm just gonna put it in themes. So themes got a lot of competition right now. So again, we have these three categories. I'm gonna go and start showing you. We're gonna go and start with fantasy finalists, and these again are the individuals that are going to be moving on to the next stage of the contest and having their island recorded and rated. And for your convenience, I did include every single one of these names, so in case you missed your name or something, or if you want to see right away if you are a finalist, you can jump straight to the video description to see if your name is in there. I've included every single finalist's name. So we had about 1,600 submissions. It was a lot of submissions, more than we actually anticipated. So the last contest, season 1 of our contest, we did everything through Discord and YouTube through comments, and it was a big pain in the butt. And so we figured, well, you know, now this one we can actually just centralize everything into a single post, and it would have worked perfectly, except we didn't expect 1,600 of you to respond and apply. And we also didn't expect something that happened a ton, which is the YouTube spam filters. So not only was YouTube filtering out your signups, they were also filtering out a lot of my volunteer staff's responses to your signups. So it was a big mess. 1,600, unfortunately, people were going to be missed. A lot of you did get missed. So next event, we're going to use Google Forms. Google Forms will make it easier. So all you need to do is put in your Roblox name. You can put in your Discord name if you're on Discord. You can upload images of your island. You can talk about your island. You can kind of explain stuff to us about your island. And then we can, you know, easily sift through thousands of entries versus trying to comb through YouTube comments, because just imagine scrolling through YouTube comments back like a month's worth of comments and thousands of responses, because just look at the original sign up post. You're going to see over 4,000. You're going to see, I think it's about 4,000 comments in there now. That makes it really, really hard for us to manage the event. And so, you know, you'll have to forgive us for YouTube issues, and just the sheer amount of manual labor that went into this was a big pain. So if you got caught up in that, I'm sorry. Unfortunately, nothing we can do. Again, this is not a commercial project. These are free entries. It's a free contest. It's our own money that we're putting into it. And we want to make sure this is fun. And so the whole point of this contest is, again, to showcase some amazing builds inside Roblox Islands. It's not so much about just giving away a bunch of Robux and stuff. That's more of an incentive. That's a reward for building something awesome. And so the next couple events we're actually going to be doing an obby event pretty soon. So you're going to be able to submit your best obbies and mazes and mini games, any kind of obstacle course that people can actually experience and play. Now, of course, this is going to be really, really hard for you. An obby contest is going to be really, really hard for you to describe visually through screenshots. And unfortunately, we're not going to be able to run every single one of them. So what I would recommend is, if you have a really, really cool obby or maze, whenever you enter into this contest, the next one that is, make sure it's like visually appealing. So don't just use a bunch of random blocks and, you know, take a screenshot from a distance, because there's no way we're going to be, you know, voting for something like that. It's got to look really, really cool. It's got to be like something as if you went and played like a really, really cool obby game. Just make it visually appealing. Put cool signage and things like that, you know, put funny faces, put pixel art all over the place inside the sky, things like that. So as you're traveling through the obby, you can kind of experience that. And same for the mazes. If it's a really, really cool style of a maze or any kind of mini games, you know, tell us the story of what you're really putting together. That's going to probably only be like a 2-week event tops. And the reason is we actually have a Halloween event. That's right, a spooky event coming up here. Right after this one, we're going to do like a cool little spooky event. We don't expect people doing entire island builds. I mean, you can do an entire Halloween spooky, you know, build after this event. But what we're really looking at is, you know, maybe there's a section of your island, or maybe you've kind of just dressed up your island to feel kind of scary. So maybe you're putting like ghosts or skeletons around, or pumpkins all over the place. And maybe, you know, your screenshots are at nighttime, or, you know, maybe you've got like just cool, really cool. I'm not going to give you all the ideas, but maybe you've done like spider webs or something, giant spider web. There's all kinds of things. Same way you would decorate your house or a haunted house. That's kind of what we're looking for this next event. Is going to be also another 2-week event. And then I also have some other contests that I'm going to be announcing pretty soon, and the season 3 of this contest. I'm thinking we might kick that off in October. I'm not positive yet. It depends on how soon we can get through the spooky event. It may be end of October. We'll see. So again, the next steps for this event, because I'm going to be asked a lot, so I just want to be able to refer everyone to this video if they ever ask questions about the next steps. Here are the next steps. Next step, if you are a finalist, if your name is on this list, then you're going to be going up into recording next. So I will be friending you off of my Professor Skyblock account. Don't send me the request. I will send you a request. If your name is on this list, you will be receiving a request from Professor Skyblock. I will actually be hopping on my VIP server quite often. If I'm on my VIP server and I haven't actually recorded your video, and then I'll record your island then. And a lot of people are like, dude, you never saw my secret cave, or you never saw the cool little thing over here that's kind of hidden behind this corner, or you didn't see the cool little caves that I made. So I want to give you some insight on how I typically review islands. So I can load an island, and typically within the first 5 seconds, I could tell you, as long as it's loaded, I can tell you if it's going to pass or not. If the first thing I see when I load your island is a bunch of auto farms, typically speaking, you're already really behind. When you're doing a build contest, typically, and I'm saying generally speaking, you'll see a lot more higher quality builds. For one, will hide their smelters, they'll hide their totems, they really conceal things, because we've already seen these things a million times. We don't want to see them anymore, right? It just becomes more generic. It's like seeing telephone poles outside. Like, you don't really want to see telephone poles. That's why everything's underground now. All the wires are being underground, like fiber optics. We don't like those big eyesores, but you're not really going to want to have too many auto farms throughout the map. So if your island has a lot of focus on, like, here's a giant shop and here's my auto farms and then here's a couple cool like little castles, you're probably not going to place as high as someone that's really dedicated their island completely to being a fantasy castle village that has no signs of auto farms anywhere. It doesn't mean that they don't have auto farms. You know what they did is they put it inside of a barn, or they put it inside one of their castles. And so when you look at it, you just see a castle, but inside is their entire auto farm. And that's a really great way to design your builds. If I join your server, I can pretty much see things within 10 seconds. And then I would actually visit someone that's, you know, done a really crazy cool looking build and be like, cool, thanks. I would load their island and then I would look around for like 5 seconds. I'm like, yeah, this is a really good looking build. And that's all I needed to see for the initial review. And so that's how initial reviews are typically. Now, the next contest isn't going to be handled that way. The reason I have to do that though is there's a lot of people that will actually submit or enter into the contest and they don't do a thing on their island. And so you load their island and it's no different than any other island you would ever load on Roblox Islands. So that makes it really challenging for me. So, you know, when I'm going through hundreds and hundreds of islands, I typically only need about like 20-30 seconds to see if it's going to be worth moving to the finalists. So that part is actually really fast, but I realize a lot of people are like, dude, I wanted to show you my secret underground base. Well, if all the good stuff is hidden underground, unfortunately, it's just not going to win, because here's the thing. I would have to spend so much time inside my video showing your underground base. If that's the only thing that's really great about it, I can't really fill up a minute or two of that content. I can't really do a pan through of different scenes inside of a really cool gallery or showcase video. So these island submissions are really about showcasing some really cool and creative builds. And so as a whole, your island should be impressive, especially your first 10 seconds of your island should be like, oh, that's cool, right? The first thing you see is, huh, there's something here. There's a story here. I liken it to like shopping for a car, and some of you are actually maybe too young to actually shop for cars yet. But when you go to the auto lot and you look around and you're like, dude, this is cool. Like, look at that car over there. Look at that car over there. You don't really need to see all the details. You already like the outside, right? You look at the car and you're like, dude, that's stellar. Dude, you look at that Ferrari. You don't need them. If you look at a Ferrari, you don't need them to show you the stereo yet. You're just like, dude, that's a Ferrari. Let me in, right? Give me the keys. You don't care about what's in the trunk, what's in the back seat, what kind of leather. Dude, it's a Ferrari. That's how I review islands. The same goes for maybe you look at a car that's just like, you know, the car looks okay. It's like, all right, I guess it'll get me there, but it's not like something really amazing looking. But you got to look at the stereo. And I hope no one's getting offended by this, but I'm just trying to explain how island reviews work for me, because I already seen the competition. You haven't. And so if I'm in there and I'm like, okay, well, I don't have like 3 or 4 or 5 minutes to kind of explore every single detail of your island, especially when I'm really tired. I might not really want to go underground and see another, you know, series of berry bushes or, you know, more iron ore deposits and things. It just gets really old. And especially when you're tired and you're just trying to see the next person's island and you know you have another 300 islands to look at. Now, speaking of not passing, there were actually a lot of great islands here. And I think everyone needs to understand that the competition was really tough, to a point where I'm like, even my island, I look at my island that I actually destroyed, but I was looking at my island, I'm thinking, man, I could do so much better. Like, you know, and it actually inspired me to do a couple things differently about my island. I actually saw someone do some really cool stairs. Some of you will see that build pretty soon. And so you're going to get a lot of great ideas from these island builds to be able to redo your island and just, you know, make it yours. It's not always about making sure everyone else loves your island. It's really about how you feel about your island and being proud about your own island. So don't worry about it. Like, don't feel like you have to destroy your island just because maybe it's not as good as the number 1 or 2 or 3 or 5th place island in this contest. Some of these islands that you're going to see aren't even like practical. They're not practical to ever use for trading because they're too big. Maybe they're at block limit. You know, I would actually highly recommend against ever having a max block limit island, because it just makes it really, really unpleasant to play the game when you're trying to load into a server and it takes you 5 minutes to load. That's why I actually only have, my island is typically about half the size of a block limit. So I'm usually at about 20,000 is where I like to keep myself at. I don't really like giant plots. You got to stay away from giant plots as well. That's why I like floaty stuff, you know, because, you know, if you have the sky, you don't really have to have a big giant platform for your island. So doing little floating islands is really the way to go, especially like, you know, similar to when you first, you know, play the game, right? It's not like they created this giant soccer field or football field that you need to build on. Just create little islands and chain them together and connect them as you need to. And that will really, really optimize your block counts. But again, some of these islands, some of these builds, you know, it's impossible for them to do that. They needed that giant plot so that they can make mountains. I mean, some of these mountains are insane. Some of these islands, I don't even know how they're still within the 50,000 block limit. I'm looking at it, I'm like, dude, how are you still under 50,000 blocks? Because this is crazy. So I'm really excited to share some of these pretty soon. So we should be wrapping up pretty shortly here with the finalist names. And the next video update coming for this contest will be when we've actually got our top 20 for each category. And what I'm hoping to do is I'm going to create 3 different videos, one for each category. So I'm going to create a video on the top 20 sci-fi builds, the top 20 fantasy builds, and the top 20 theme builds. And that will be when I actually announce the winners, because you will actually have an opportunity for People's Choice Award. So remember, the People's Choice Award will be coming pretty soon. So you're going to be able to vote for your favorite island. So good luck to all the finalists. May the best islands win. And before I forget, make sure you join our live stream tomorrow. I am live streaming tomorrow morning for the latest update for Roblox Islands. We're going to check that update together, and I hope to see you there. Take it easy.